something I've always been very deliberate about is I call my films films. And throughout my filmmaking career, that has hit a wall for some people, because some people come in the comments and they say, these aren't films, these are comedy sketches. These aren't films, these are videos. These aren't films, these are shorts, or just whatever other word. And I go back and forth. I think semantics is a pretty useless discussion, but I also think it's a pretty powerful, important discussion because words have a lot of power. And that power is precisely why I use the word film to describe my films. And I think people get it wrong. They think I'm delusional because it's like, no, I don't think they're not videos. Of course they're videos. Everything on YouTube and the internet is a video. I just happen to think that every video can be and should be considered a film, because the discourse on what is a film goes all the way back to, the 60s with Andy Warhol. And you think we buried that deeply in a grave at that point, but no, people still have this like block in their head about it. And that was like Andy Warhol was doing these experimental films that was like a 15-minute shot on a guy's face called Blowjob. And it was just his face, and you had to imagine the blowjob. Or like Empire, which was an 8-hour shot of the Empire State Building, or maybe even longer. Maybe it was a couple days long or something. But anyways, he was doing these bold experimental films that are pretty boring or not interesting to most. But he was pushing and breaking new ground on what constitutes a film and what constitutes art in general. And a lot of creators, filmmakers at that time were doing the same thing. There's a famous experimental short that's just a 7-minute shot of a lemon. And all this has happened. This is art history at this point. It's like 60 years ago. But the point stands. What is a film? Like, this discussion still stands. It still happens, and people still get annoyed if you try to tell them something's a film that in their narrow definition doesn't fit. And I think the simplest solution is a film is a moving image displayed in any way. It's a moving image displayed on a screen, on a wall, on this or that. That's a film. It's an image that and it doesn't even have to move necessarily. And there's an audio component too, but there doesn't have to be. But in short, a film's a film, a film is a film is a film is a film. It's a tiring discussion because I'm like, okay, you see a comedy sketch online and you're like, and then the creator calls it a film. And what goes off in your head? Like, a film can't be funny and brief. A film can't be, like, what is a comedy sketch missing that Andy Warhol's Blowjob has? Because Andy Warhol's Blowjob does not have a story. It does not have a dramatic arc per se. Maybe it does, but I don't think it does. It does not have a opening, like a dramatic title sequence and then an end credits. What constitutes a film? The second you start like picking apart these semantics, the second any of these people's argument fall apart, because it's like a comedy sketch arguably is way more traditional film-wise than a lot of these great famous experimental short films are. You have a story, a character, a conflict, a resolution. That's all you need to do a film in like the classical sense. The silly wall people put up. A film can't be silly. It can't be topical. It can't be a meme. Aren't memes some of the most powerful films we're currently creating because they reach so many people and resonate in such a new, exciting way? Like, memes are film work the same as freaking Avengers Endgame is, And I think where these semantical discussions really matter is in value, in how we value our own work and how we value the work that we engage with. Because it's easy to dismiss something as just a video. And video doesn't get the same respect and admiration and discussion that a film. You won't see AFI's top 100 videos of all time. You won't see the Screen, whatever, whoever does those lists. And you should, maybe you should, because the video work has been some of the most experimental, bold, exciting new stuff for the last 40 years. But you don't see that. You see best films of all time. You see this. People see a film and they treat it seriously. They hear film and they're like, somebody crafted this. There was an artist behind it. There was an intent behind it. I'm supposed to have my own emotional reaction to this thing. And if we like deem our own work with that word film, you know, it's still a video, and videos are awesome, and videos are artful and beautiful, but it's the connotation that really matters. And people get so swept up in that connotation that it's important. Sadly, it's important that to call our stuff films is to be like, we're artists. And there's people who also rear their head if somebody's bold enough to say, I'm an artist or I make art. They're like, oh, you do? People suddenly get so critical the second you dare call yourself something more than just like, oh, I'm just a YouTuber, I'm a creator, which aren't dirty words. They shouldn't be, and I hope that reputation goes away. But until then, I think it's fun to mess with people. It's fun, I'm not saying I do it to troll people or mess with people, but it's fun to be like, mess with people's perception of things and be like, this is this thing that you think it's not. And I don't know. I think I see a lot of people kind of shooting themselves in the foot verbally when they approach their work. They're like, I'm an aspiring filmmaker, and it's like, no, you're a filmmaker. Have you made a film? Have you shot? Great, you're a filmmaker. You know, they're like, oh, I just do videos, I'm a content creator. It's like, yes, but you're also doing something very artful and profound, and it's just not getting that same discussion yet. But it will, you know, in 100 years, people will look back at this time period as the time period that creating swept the world, and millions and millions were creating their own art and their own videos on the internet. You know, the discussion in 100 years is not going to be about the Marvel MCU Phase 4. You know, it's not going to be about, you know, what won Best Picture each year. The discussion is going to be this advent of creators online and beautiful film work and interesting film work and people just having fun and goofing around. And I think that is really the key to it. It's not this serious thing, but it also is. It can be both, and I think we should treat it as both. And yeah, I just wanted to touch upon that because it's something that I bumped with a number of times in my film career, and if it at all discouraged you at any point, I hope this could alleviate some of that discouragement. But anyways, I love you guys. I love movies. Hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.